Right, one sec, boys. One sec. Right. Live effects. This. Fuck on, man. Okay, right, we're live on TikTok as well. Let's get going. All right, first caller, we have a beer. Oh, we have Paul Bishop. We have a beer, right? A beer's first caller. What's up, a beer?
Hello.
Hello, how can I help, man?
Yeah, I was just wondering, right? I've got I'm trying to get in, and I've been practicing for the UCAT and stuff, and I was just wondering about my A levels.
Mm-hmm.
I had to move, and I ended up having to move my UCAT because I just wasn't ready.
Okay.
They can't see that I've done that, can they? Like rescheduled and stuff.
So you've moved your UCAT to what date this year?
I've moved. It's in like a few days, right? But
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not. I'm like just a little bit stressed because I feel like I'm not ready for it.
Okay. Well, moving the UCAT's fine. Obviously, date's ending on the 15th. So when's it booked
Yeah,
for?
I booked it for the 14th, so I've got a couple of days left, and I was just wondering if you've
Okay.
got like any advice for me. Like I'm like so nervous about it.
Okay, so is it more like nerves or is it more you don't really know your content?
It's like I've been practicing and stuff, but I feel like when I do like the mock tests and things like that, like my scores aren't as high as I'd want them to be, and like I don't know how much I need to be getting and stuff, and I feel like
Okay.
because I've only really looked at like the really high unis and stuff, I feel like I need to be doing a lot better, but I'm not sure like where I'm going with it, and it's just kind of scary.
Okay, no worries. And what scores are you getting on the so new scores? Like, what are you in? Are you in like 2000s? Are you in the 1000s?
I'm like near the I'm like low to my highest scores are like in the 2000s.
Okay, so low 2000s. Okay, that's really good. So
Yeah,
is it your average or your highest?
that's like my highest, and then like usually I'm like in the 1000, but like near the top of the like high 1000s.
Okay, so high 1000s, right? So to me, it seems like you have a bit of nerves and that. So obviously, like on the actual day of the UCAT, you kind of want to just be like chill out. So day before, I wouldn't recommend studying at all. So it's all about just keeping chill, not stressing about it. Get there in good time, prepare for any traffic, and then I'd say like know what questions to skip is the biggest part of the UCAT. So unless like you're an absolute genius, you're never going to answer every question fully in the UCAT. So I would say know what questions to skip. So let's talk about verbal reasoning, for example. So with verbal reasoning, there's two types of questions. You can get the ones with like the 4 questions, as in like a big ass text and 4 questions, and then you can get the questions where it's big text, 3 questions, yes, no, can't infer. I recommend the yes, no, can't infer ones. Like do all of them and read them properly. Spend a little more than 2 minutes on each section for that, because when it's yes, no, can't infer, they can scan it really quickly because yes and no, like it's a true or false statement. So somewhere in the text, there'll be either be something that directly agrees with that or directly disagrees with that. So really good way to do that. Always focus on them questions. That's towards the end of the verbal reasoning. And then For the questions with 4 statements, I would generally, if it's anything more than like 4 paragraphs, or I'd say anything more than 16 lines, just skip past it. You don't want to be doing these massive, massive questions. So that's the verbal reasoning. Quantitative reasoning is kind of the same. So these really hard ones like to do with tax brackets and takes ages. Leave them out if it takes ages. But then ones like speed equals distance over time or something, you can do them. A lot of quantitative reasoning as well, like, isn't actually that hard. It's just like reading the full question sort of thing. So there might be a table of like boys or girls, and you should answer it like based on boys or girls. So just reading the actual question is good for that. And then decision making is in my. How are you finding that? I think it's really hard. Do you think it's hard?
Decision making, I'm kind of okay with. It's the verbal reasoning section that like stresses me out, because I see like a big block, and then I end up like, like I get like a little bit freaked out, and then I end up like clicking the wrong answers or like not reading it properly, because I try to like rush it kind of, because I see like a big block and then I try to skim it, and then I end up like misreading and I click the wrong answers, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So clicking the right answer. So that's just a case of like just taking your time. You know, the flagging systems, you can do Control F, Command F, that flags your questions.
Okay.
Obviously, always in
Yeah.
the UCAT, it's not negative marking, so always get every question answered. So they never leave anything unanswered in the UCAT. Really important to know that. And then how is your SJT looking, your ethics?
SJT, I'm okay. Like I can, I hit like band 2 solidly, and then every like sometimes I'm getting like band 1 as well. So
Okay.
I think I'm happy with SJT.
Yeah.
Other question I had was about like work experience,
Uh-huh.
right? So I did a little bit of work experience over the summer, and all my teachers are saying like, and like all my mates, they keep saying about like reflection and stuff, but I don't actually know what that means. Like, what do you
Okay.
mean by reflection? What am I writing
Perfect.
about it?
Great question. So everyone listening on, with reflection, there's 2 ways you can do it. There's a 3 Watts model, and there is the Gibbs reflective cycle. So I really recommend, if you're starting out with reflection, use the Gibbs reflective cycle. So this is basically like, reflection is talking about a past experience, how it felt, what you did. So the key thing about personal statements is being descriptive. So let's say you worked at a care home and you helped out a patient. Don't just say like, I showed empathy by helping a patient. What did you do to show empathy? Actually describe it. So a lot of the time I read so many personal statements and they'll say, I use adaptive communication when dealing with this patient. Okay, great. You know, you're saying the skill of a doctor and everything, but how did you use adaptive communication? So you should say, I changed my tone of voice. I used facial expressions, hand gestures. Obviously, depending on the age of the people. If you're working with kids, you need to use hand gestures, different tone. Elderly people speak slower. These are all examples of adaptive communication. So when reflecting, a great like template to use would be the Gibbs reflective cycle or the 3 Watts model. So let's use a 3 Watts model. This is basically what, so what, now what. So let's talk about a care home setting. What? I spent a year in a care home working with patients with dementia. I showed the skills of adaptive communication. Okay, so what? So now I need to say, so what? Like, what have you learned? You can say like, initially, I didn't really have the skill of adaptive communication. However, after seeing a doctor speak to a patient, I developed this skill because I noticed that the patient satisfaction was a lot more increased. Patient satisfaction is really important because it increases trust in the NHS. And then you say, now what? In the future, and like, from this work experience, I learned how to use adaptive communication. I did this through, and then say, change of tone, etc. So that's a 3 Watts model. I really recommend always talk about reflection. And in personal statements, I say don't be too emotive. So like when you're using anecdotal stories for the first question, that's fine. Don't be too emotive in that sense, but use your emotions in reflection. Say how you felt, what you learned, why you learned that. It's really good to say these things. Don't be bland. Be as descriptive as possible. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Perfect, man. Perfect. Anything
Okay,
else?
I think that. Yeah, I was just so I've got to use the Gibbs reflective cycle
Yeah.
and
Give us
try and fill that
a
out with my experiences and things.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's everything.
Do you think you could like show me? Do you think you could like show me an example of like how I'd use it?
Give reflective cycle. Sure. Let me load it up. Everyone on
Okay.
TikTok, we're live on YouTube as well, by the way. Link in bio. You can join the chat. Okay, here we go. So let me just screen share. So can you see this here?
Yeah.
So okay, so we have keep the reflective cycle. So
Wait.
it's not also,
Just showing your face. One sec. Let me see if I can switch this.
so can you see what they're in here? Wait 1 sec. There you go. Can you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Right. So we have Gibbs'
Yeah.
reflective cycle here. It all starts with a description. Like I said, be as descriptive as possible. What did you do in this reflection in this scenario? Okay. So, like I said, I was at a care home. I looked after patients living with dementia. Okay. Great. Next, then, say how you felt doing this. So, oftentimes, people who are looking after people living with dementia, it's quite shocking and surprising at how much attention to care that these people need because they can't really care themselves oftentimes, depending on the progression and how many comorbidities they have. So say how you felt. Did you feel empathetic, sympathetic? Were you surprised, shocked, anything like that? And then you need to evaluate, okay? So say like the care they got, how important that care was, how these feelings you felt. What did you do after these feelings? Have a chronological story. Remember, this is a cycle. What started, what did you feel, and continue in this chronology, okay? And then you have to analyze it. So the analysis, talk about what you did, what you saw, why this is important. You need to talk about the domains of the GMC here. You need to know the roles of a doctor. So show people you know the roles of a doctor. Then conclude. Say like everything you learned, what happened in the whole entire reflection. So maybe you saw the caregiving and the high empathy. Why is that important? Conclude it. And then finally, action plan. So with your action plan, you need to talk about what you are going to do in the future, if anything. Sometimes the first time you might have interacted with the patient's perfect, but unlikely. And it's likely because you're learning and because you're an aspiring medical student, you're going to learn things on the way. So that's what your action plan is. So you say, I learned this in the future, I am going to do this more. Or maybe you already have the skill. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
Perfect.
sense. Thanks.
That's all right. No
Um,
worries.
yeah, there was one more thing, right? Like that, like people at my school, like at the MedSoc, they keep the other thing they keep mentioning. One sec, I had it written down somewhere. Give me a
Yeah,
second. Let me
no
see if I can
worries.
find.
No worries. Let's hear it. Everyone on TikTok live as well, and live on YouTube. Any questions? Go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah, I found it. Yeah, I had it written down. So, like, they mentioned that I needed to know like the pillars of like medical ethics, I think it was,
Yes.
and like core principles and like a bunch of stuff about like the NHS. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that they said
Uh-huh.
that I needed to learn. I'm not really sure how that's like going to come into it. Like, is that going to be part of the interview, or like, is that, and do I put that in my personal statement? Like, I don't know what to do with all of that
Really good
information.
question. So, pillars of medical ethics are for both your interview, more importantly to the interview, but also your personal statement. So, do you know your 4 pillars?
I think so.
Okay, good. So it's justice, autonomy, maleficence, and non-beneficence. So each of these, respectively, justice means same patient, same patient, different area, same condition. You should get the same treatment. If there are 2 people presenting with cancer, they should get the same treatment, provided like their entire like pathology is the same. Then there's autonomy, which is the idea a patient gets to choose their own treatment and have their own choice in the healthcare. If some patients don't want some option treatments, then that's their options. You should present to them all the options with no bias. Then there's non-maleficence, which means to do no harm. Basically, you should only do good for the patient. And then finally, there is beneficence, which is to do good. So you need to think with the patient's interest with it, like as your number one priority. So with all of that, then in your personal statement, talk about times or talk about like what you need to show, you know, the skills of a doctor and a medical student. So if you're doing the skills of a doctor and a medical student, talk about time to sort beneficence, non-maleficence, justice, autonomy. Say how, once again, in the reflection, say how it felt, what you thought about it. It's all to do with your emotions in the primary time. So I would mention it there. And then in interviews, we'll come on to interview training like in later episodes, but yeah, you definitely need to know it a lot for interviews, but just kind of mention it in your personal statement and elaborate a little bit to show the examiner that you actually know what it means. But aside from that, you only really need that.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, Ben.
Perfect, man. No worries. Thank you. Is that everything?
Yeah, that's everything.
Perfect, man. Thank you. Thank you. See you soon.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. Right, we have people on the TikTok live now. How do I link the research of AI rolling mad? Keep it more specific, please, to that question. If anyone wants to join the live stream on YouTube, please do. We're going through personal statements, help with personal statements, help with medicine, everything. Your personal statement help, man. Link in bio. Come on to the live stream on YouTube. We'll go through it. If you want help with personal statement, please join the YouTube live. I'll talk about it briefly though on here. So YouTube live joining it really helps me. Basically, the second question of the personal statement, don't mention anything to do with your A-levels because everyone applying to med school or any university for that matter will have sat their A-levels already. So you don't want to talk about A-levels. What you want to talk about is things you've done in school, prefects, teaching, mentoring, helping the people in the year below, helping out on parents' evenings, open evenings. You want to talk about leadership roles, head boy, head girl, deputy head boy, deputy head girl. Do you run any societies? Talk about all of them kind of things. Also, chemistry Olympiads, all these Olympiads, extracurricular things. Have you done any research in school? EPQs. That's what you want to talk about for the second question, not A-levels. Research project and development of AI. So if you're talking about like AI and development of medicine, clearly this is a new field. So don't be like so be like flexible in your personal statement. So I will talk about like whilst there are alternatives in medicine, and this is like early research, I am really intrigued and interested in, and then talk about it briefly. So don't go into too much detail about it, but it sounds really interesting. And if it's to do with research, this goes under question 2 of your personal statement. Yes, I am reacting. Yes, I am reacting to statements. If you want, it can be private. We don't have to show it online, or we can just talk about how to write statements if you want to join, man. So how to make it reflective. I was talking about this on the live stream over on YouTube. So if you want to make things reflective, what you want to do is use either the 3 Watts reflective cycle or the Gibbs reflective cycle. And this is when you basically, the key thing about reflection is talking about your emotions and being descriptive. Okay. So always be as descriptive as possible. Well done for the A star. A star's good. Yes. After your master's degree, depends what you want to go into. So yeah, wider reading about subjects is a brilliant one to add into the second bit as well. But I would say it's the second question is what skills have you gotten in school? So only if like wider reading has given you skills. So typically, I don't think wider reading will actually give you that many skills. Because you don't actually get that many skills from reading, just apart from like you get knowledge from reading, which is kind of goes under question 3 of like what have you done to make yourself a suitable applicant. But if you've genuinely learned something from reading, such as like how to research, I definitely would recommend putting it in the second bit. Just with books, don't list, just try and explain books and say why they like impacted you. So a really good example would be I read Being Mortal by Atul Gawande. I learned about geriatric care. From this, I was inspired to apply to a geriatric care hospital and I got a role there. From this, I did this. Like all this chronological talk is really good. Of course we can. On YouTube, if you want to join, you click the link in the chat and then feel free to join through there. I can help you with any personal statement questions you want, coming from a third-year medical student. I'll be more than happy to help with anyone's personal statement if they need it. Jaffa cake. Yeah, I do biology tuition over on Element Shoes. And then I do free biology tuition as well. Join the live stream link in bio. I can help you with anything on biology if you want help with it. All right, custard cream then. Any help with biology though, year 12, year 13, we're doing it for free. Link in bio. Join onto the YouTube, we can talk about anything. Okay, I got someone on the bus. Just send it to me next live stream, my guy. We'll go through it. I need callers. We need some clips. But if you've got any questions, Matt, drop it in the chat and I'll answer them now. If you've got anything specifically. Got a question from Joe Joseph. For Keel, how do you revise prepare for second year OSCEs? Oh yeah, you're for your first year, aren't you, man? Okay, so if you're for Keel second year OSCEs, you're gonna have 12 stations throughout the year. So this is for med school. So you have 12 OSCE stations for the practical exams, and you need to pass 8 of them. So quite a high pass mark percentage. And if you want to pass them, I would say revise really early, and just constantly every time you revise them, Joel, try and pretend it's the real exam. So, for example, when I was revised, I think I just passed 8 out of 8, 8 out of 12 this year. So I just got the pass mark for the OSCEs. And the mistake I made when revising was I skipped the whole introduction and patient bit, whereas I should have done that because patient mannerism is scored in OSCEs. So make sure you actually prepare for patient mannerism and say, hello, my name's Brian, can I take your date of birth, please? And be respectful. Learn how to do that. It goes a long way, and they actually mark you on patient mannerisms. So make sure you do that for the OSCEs. That's my key advice for OSCEs. Good question, though. If you hate bio but still want to do med, so some med schools many med schools accept you without biology, actually. So you don't have to do biology for medicine. Not too sure what the med schools are, but I've made a TikTok on it though about if you don't have A-level biology or chemistry, there's some you can apply to. There's tons actually. So you have to do chemistry though. I think you have to do either biology or chemistry for medicine. I think there's one med school that you have to pay loads for that doesn't let you in without biology or chemistry. So choose biology or chemistry, and then yeah, you can kind of work around it from that. Although biology is a much easier A-level than chemistry. But if you don't like biology, you might not like medicine because there's tons of crossover with medicine and A-level biology. So do consider that. And biology helps a lot with medicine. Every day I'm using my A-level biology knowledge for medicine, and you just build on it. But A-level biology goes into a lot of detail. Does take a psychology as a third and biology. Yes, it works. Doesn't narrow it uni options at all. Obviously, maths is biochem math is a really good combo. However, psychology is a really good one as well. Chemistry is regarded as one of the hardest A levels. A really good grade in chemistry goes a long, long way. That's the reason why medical schools want people to have chemistry. I never use chemistry A level in medicine, but because it's a hard A level, that's why they want it. So yeah, it goes really long way. Okay, get a new teacher. Yeah, that's good then. I mean, I'd say stick with biology if you want to do medicine, just because like it's really important in med school, and you always are going to get like biological relevance in medicine. So it's good to have a foundation understanding with A-level biology, definitely. Okay, so 1,900 band two. So your UCAT score is above the average, meaning you're above fifth decile, meaning that you're about top 45% of examiners. So good score. At this rate, I would definitely consider those some lower UCAT universities because 1,900 is still regarded as low. So consider Sunderland, Keele, consider Plymouth, and consider Cardiff, Leicester, some of the lower UCAT unis, and then go for one you really want. If there's one you want to go for though, and you don't, you pass the cutoff, go for it. But then I'd say save 3 or 2 for like reservation ones, and have one ambitious one because you should still go for the one you want to go for. But I would say play it safe as well. Good UCAT score though, good predicted. So I definitely consider Keel. So biochem maths is probably a better combination, but A-level maths is a lot harder than A-level psychology. So for courses like medicine where you need 3A straight out, I would recommend taking psychology instead because you can get an A without as much revision in. So I would recommend doing psychology instead of maths if you want to do medicine because it's easier to get an A. Okay, so you find A-level biology hard and interesting. So with A-level biology, it's about staying on top of the content. So I really recommend this textbook here. It kind of makes everything relevant and understandable. And then I would also flashcard things often. So biology is a really content heavy subject, probably one of the most content heavy. So get an app called Anki and make some flashcards on Anki and stay on top of it. And then do past paper questions as well. And just be inquisitive. Like don't spend the whole lesson copying notes from your teacher. Constantly ask questions. Ask why things are, ask for help with things. Don't just copy notes from your teacher. Actually try and get an understanding in the lesson. But the key thing is flashcards. Use Anki, ANKI. It's free to download. Essay competitions help massively for personal statements. If you have succeeded, if you got published, if you didn't get published, put essay competitions in the second question of the personal statement because you learn how to research, write, and articulate. Really, really good stuff for personal statements. Is that? 1950 is about the 40th percentile, roughly, meaning that if 100 people sat the UCAT, you would do 40th best, which is a good score. The hardest topic in A-level biology, I would say, is, I think, ooh, I don't really find any of it hard. I think immunology is the hardest on the exam because of the questions that they can ask you. But the hardest topic, like flat out, I think topic 8, like the Gillen electrophoresis, is quite hard in year 13. EPQs are definitely worth it. If you're, especially if you're considering applying to med school, please, please, please do an EPQ. Really, really worth it. And they can all, the reason they're worth it is for 2 reasons. Number one, it shows you research skills, so you can talk about that in question 2. Actually, there's 3 reasons. The second reason is it shows interest, and the third reason, many universities accept you with a lower grade, provided your EPQ is an A or an A star. So let's say it takes like 20 hours to get an A or an A star in an EPQ, it can drop a whole grade in another subject, which would take hundreds of hours of studying. So yeah, definitely do EPQs. Um, Maths challenge in year 9. So generally, I would recommend personal statements to be relevant within the past like 2 or 3 years. Maybe you can add a one-liner on it. Say like you can add a one-liner, but I wouldn't bother recommending it, like mentioning that much, just because it was so long ago. But you can mention it, like if you have some words to fill out and you want to do it, then do it. The bio specification. So your specification isn't designed for students, i.e., it's designed for examiners and teachers. It's not supposed to be understood very well. To understand your bio specification, once again, get like a book or like an online website that covers the specification in note form, because this is everything in the specification, but it's within notes, so it's understandable to a student. So that's how you should do your specification. No, online flashcards are way better than handwritten flashcards. Handwritten flashcards are a waste of time to write, waste of paper, so it's expensive. And also online, it forces you to do the flashcards that you get wrong the most, which is a key thing. It's called active recall. I didn't do an EPQ. No. I'm not too sure about the Oxbridge one, to be honest. I would say initially no. You just need to. I think with Oxbridge, you want to. Well, I don't think I know. You want to show like a lot of almost research skills if you have them, or kind of like next with personal statements and Oxbridge especially. You need to be showing the university. I am currently doing things that an undergraduate student of this course is doing. So if you're applying for medicine as a medic, as an undergraduate, let's say I am working on hospitals, or let's say I am interested about the heart, so I'm reading articles about it. You should be doing the same thing as me, as an A-level student. So that's what many universities, and especially highly academic ones like Oxford, are looking for. Do the things that undergraduates would do. You need to have this really high standard. Okay. Tips of procrastinating. Use the Pomodoro technique. So the Pomodoro technique is when basically you study for 25 minutes, have a 5-minute break. Go onto YouTube, Google it. Really, really good for procrastinated. And then when you're on your 5-minute break, actually use your break and don't study. Hobbies in your personal statement. Yeah, sure. If it teaches you skills, I definitely would mention it. So like let's say you play for a football team or a sports team, definitely mention that because it teaches you teamwork, which is important in medicine. If it's just hobbies, like for you, an interested person, sure. I would always mention with hobbies though, as like a one-liner at the end. In like, I appreciate medicine's really stressful and people can burn out. I use my many like in a similar way. A levels is really stressful and people can burn out. I use my hobbies to de-wind and relax, and I find it helps me a lot at school. And then mention some hobbies. Okay, so definitely mention hobbies. Yeah, it makes you interesting. Yes, football at a high level is really worth mentioning in the personal statement. Make things relevant. So if your university degree or the future job you're applying for requires teamwork, which it very, very likely will, football requires teamwork. So there's many parallels between the things. You just have to make it relevant. So it needs teamwork, organization, strategy, problem solving, thinking. So these are things you can mention, but teamwork's a great one. So chemistry A. So an A in chemistry is really difficult. Like, I promise you, I was studying from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. And like I put a lot of time into chemistry and I only got an A. I didn't actually get an A star in chemistry, believe it or not. So A in chemistry is difficult. The key thing for chemistry is past paper questions 80% of the time and other things 20%. So that could be flashcards. But chemistry is only past paper questions, nothing else. You shouldn't be wasting time taking notes. You shouldn't be doing things like blurting. It's just past paper questions. The only time we should be doing things like blurting is for organic in year 13. Apart from that, it's just past paper questions. Online flashcards, I recommend writing your own. I don't think pre-made flashcards are good at all because they're a waste of time and in way too much detail. So make your own on Anki. And if you want pre-downloaded ones, which I don't recommend, you can get many free ones on Anki. Just Google that Anki free cards and people online giving it out. Yeah, anything that's university led, definitely mention it on your personal statement. But just once again, talk about the skills you've learnt and things that are university led shows curiosity in the course. I would 100% mention that. Probably in question one or question three, because that's obviously outside of school. You're welcome. Gap years before medicine are fine. Just make sure that you have your offer already. If you take a gap year and you reapply for medicine, you don't keep your UCAT score. So you have to resit the UCAT, which is a pain in the ass. So make sure you actually have a deferred year. Deferred years are absolutely fine, to be honest. First year medicine's quite slow paced. There's nothing that hard about it. So you'll be absolutely fine if you take a year out. I really recommend it if you want to do traveling or, get some cash or whatever. Medicine with BTEC applied science. So you can't do it undergraduate. You can get to graduate jobs such as like psychology, biomed, bioscience, biochem, and then apply for medicine postgrad from there. I actually disagree. I think AQA is a lot easier than OCR, in my opinion. Um, I tutor both OCR and AQA, and I think OCR is a lot harder, but that's my opinion. Yeah, ChemRevise is 100% the best chemistry site, 100%. You can't do medicine with BTEC applied science now. Although there's some like medical degree apprenticeship coming out, but I don't know how that works. ChemRevise has OCRA notes on them as well, so definitely use ChemRevise, best website out there. No, not all med schools learn the same content in year one. So I've said this loads before. Med school isn't a standardized curriculum. It is always different for every medical school. So, for example, I might learn so I have not touched dermatology yet, which is about the skin, whereas my friends in other med schools have learned loads about dermatology. So every med school is different. Generally, in med school, first year, you're going to be learning what's right about the body. So you might learn about the kidney and how it looks when it's right and functioning normally. Second year, you look at the kidney and what's wrong when it's not functioning. So it's called a spiral curriculum. It builds off the first year. So first year, you learn everything about the body and its normal functioning. So generally, after first year, I knew nothing about medicine, as in if a patient presented with something, I could not do anything. However, second year, they actually teach you what to do if stuff goes wrong. Guys, I'm live on YouTube as well. Join link in bio. We can help with personal statements, do anything you'd like to, like link in bio. So Oxbridge Medicine. My friends at Oxbridge studying vet med and medicine have said that you're going to want to do like you can have a 7 here or there. The average grade for Oxbridge applicants is like 8.9. So you need to have high grades, but they don't really care about GCSEs. They care more about other skills, such as interpersonal skills, curiosity in the subject, things you've done to show curiosity. So you shouldn't take notes because it's not really an active form. You're not rude at all, by the way. Note taking is not an active form of learning whatsoever. So taking notes isn't how you learn. You learn by making things relevant and quizzing yourself on them over an amount of time. If someone wrote something down and I took a note of it, it's not actually me quizzing myself because it's right in front of me. What am I actually learning by doing that? Something you are learning is so you write the notes down, like a day later, you think, cover up the notes. What was it that I wrote? Then over time, you're integrated it within you. Writing notes is okay, but don't think that's like the best way to revise. It's okay in class because you have nothing else to do. But instead of spending the entire of class writing every tiny note down, write the key things down. Or if a teacher says it like 2 or 3 times, write it down. But think about questions you can ask or how they could answer it in the exam and then go from there instead. But notes are okay to write, just don't over rely on them because oftentimes it can create an illusion of studying when notes aren't really studying. Underrated med school, Kiel, 100%. Kiel's underrated. I think Hull York's underrated. Liverpool's underrated. Um, although all med school in the UK are good, but I think yeah, they're the underrated ones. Yeah, you can do medicine at Cambridge or Oxford with a six and sevens. Maybe not many sevens and sixes. It's probably not the best idea, but with a 7 or a 6, yes, you can. Yes, straight 8s and 7s is perfect medicine. Well done for getting your grades. For Keele University and most universities in general, you do clinical placements in third year. So years 1 and 2 in medicine is called your pre-clinical years. That's when you learn about the body, what's right and what's wrong. Years 3, 4, and 5 is your clinical years, which is when you learn. It's called bedside teaching. You learn in the hospital, but you also learn some stuff in class. So I have 30% of my week in class and 70% of my week in a hospital. Make sure to join the YouTube live, link in bio if you want any help with personal statements. Generally, like AS levels aren't valued that much. They count for UCAS points, which helps somewhat, but I'd recommend doing the whole A level. But yeah, they'll value it somewhat. Depends on the course. Yeah, depends on for the grades for med school. Depends on what med school you're applying to. Many med schools are strict with it. Some aren't as strict with it. So completely depends on the med school you're applying to. I got Keele Uni. 190 band 2 is above average. The average UCAT score roughly is 1,800-ish. So 1,920 is going to be about top 40% of the test takers, and band 2 is good as well. Band 2 means you're the top 25%. Well done. If you want to get help with the personal statements, go onto the link in the bio, go onto Bio with Bryn on YouTube, and I'm live streaming right now. You can join the live stream and I can talk you through your personal statements, exactly how to write it and what medical schools are looking for. So join the live stream on YouTube and I can help you with any question on your personal statement. Advantage of doing 4 A levels. I'm gonna say, like, for the time put into it, no. But if you're interested in the fourth A level and it's not gonna take that much commitment and studying to do, I would say yes. So I know a lot of people who are artists and are naturally really good at art take art as a fourth A level, and they don't have to put tons and tons of studying into it. Or something like, let's say you are a native Spanish speaker and you do Spanish A level, it's not going to take you ages to get an A star or an A in Spanish. So I would do a fourth A level under that circumstance. Or if you do further maths and maths, there's a lot of crossover. Bristol medicine on Monday. Cool. Enjoy it. I'd say make your own questions. I would say just study for like 3 hours a max a day. You don't need to be doing anything more than that. Use PBL effectively. So it's all group work, I believe, at Bristol Med School. So use the group work sessions well. Just ask questions. Think about the patient. And it's really different to A levels in medicine, but you definitely learn along the way. Everyone has their own studying methods. One big mistake I made was like I used so many flashcards initially. Flashcards are quite bad in medicine. They're only really good for drugs, in my opinion, as in like memorizing drugs. So use flashcards for that, but I wouldn't really recommend using flashcards elsewhere. I didn't do GCSE psychology, no. So EPQs are really important in the perspective of medical school. Um, I can't really comment what you should write about because that's your own interest. I didn't do an EPQ and I regret not doing one. However, like write about anything you're interested in. If it's medicine, perhaps a medical topic. I know people that are my like brother's written on anabolic steroids and the usage of them. Well, there's loads you can do. So if you want any help with medical personal statements, join the link in the bio on YouTube. I'm streaming. You can get some help over there completely free. Med schools do accept extenuating circumstances. Yes, this is called widening participation. If hospitalization during GCSEs comes under the widening participation, they will accept it. I'll be honest with you, I don't think it does though, but definitely worth considering. And even if it doesn't, if you have the grade entry requirements, it's something you can put on your like on the UCAS application form. It's like, do you have any other side notes? And you should mention that, and it's something they'll consider. So if you're neck to neck with another applicant, they'll definitely consider that. In year 12, you should be studying maximum. Honestly, if you use your freeze effectively, you don't need to study at all in year 12. As in, if you actually use your freeze in school, use most of them, do all your homework, make some flashcards, maybe do like past paper questions, like for one hour of past paper questions per subject per week, you should be doing well. Generally, schools say the amount of hours in class you should be doing out of class. So in first year, I had 12 hours of learning and I spent 12 hours studying outside of class. That was all during my freeze, and then I never studied when I got home in year 12 because there's no need to. So you can just study entirely in your freeze and you should be okay. You'd never have to study when you get back. Why did I stress her out, bro? What have I done? Started psychology, any tips? 2 seconds. Okay, so you tell psychology, just enjoy it. Psychology is fine. You don't need to worry about it at this point. I'd say later on down the line when you have exams, um, like practice past papers, but then also just flashcard things and make sure you stay on top of your content. But don't worry too much about it. So you don't need to study too much. Okay, so year 13. Oh, bro, I don't want to scare you though. Like, do you want the honest answer, man, for year 13 studying? I mean, what grades are you looking for? I can tell you what I did in year 13 if you want to know that, but I don't want to scare you or anything. So you can never guarantee your interview anywhere at med school. It matters on your UCAT, your personal statement, like everything matters. I would say if you want to get a really good chance of getting straight interviews, I'd say a UCAT of 2,200, 2,100, 2,000, like 2,000s plus will probably get you interviews at most unis, like depending on where you apply. But I'd say around the like, low 2,000s will definitely get you interviews. Well, not definitely, but you have a really good chance of getting interviews with 2,000s. I think if you with EPQ, definitely do one for medicine and getting good grades as well. Medicine's really good. They love EPQs. Okay, right. Year 13 revision. Here's what you should be doing. Well, I got A star, A star, A, and I basically woke up at like 5 a.m. and then I did a whole past paper every day. Apart from Thursdays because I slept in. And then I would go to school, use every free, and in the frees I would do past papers, the little subtopic ones, and basically every question I got wrong, I bring to my teacher. That helps a lot for me. And then I would just batch out past paper questions mostly. Use your teachers. Let your teachers help you a lot with the past papers. So you should always bring questions to them you get wrong, and be just using all your frees effectively. I would say about 4 hours studying a day, 4 to 5 hours. I studied a lot more in A levels than I did at med school though. So it's tough. Towards the end, it's really tough. But I'd say on average, 4 hours a day. Towards the end, ramp it up. So like, yeah, it is meant to be a full-time job. You are correct there. So I would say, like, once again, like I said at the start, amount of hours in class, amount of hours out of class. I was in class for like 20 hours a week when I was at school. So then I do 20 hours out of class. That's kind of a fair equation to do. So some Lucas, some universities will accept that. I'm not too sure which ones. There's definitely more than four though, so you can still apply to more than four. You need to check though. So good A level choice. Not having chemistry limits you somewhat. However, you can still do it definitely. Go check though on the UK Cat people. Oh man, you got score of 100. It's impossible to get it that low, but it's you won't get into med school with that. But you can't even get a UCAS score of 100, bro, because it's a minimum of 900. But nice try. Gateways to medicine are good, yes, but they're hard to get onto. Kent and Kiel. So the average Kiel applicant gets a UCAS score of 1,900-ish. So if you have a UCAS score below that, then you can still get in. The average person, like I said, has a score of 1,900. So that's what will get you in. I think year 13 is I think year 13. I'm sorry, for Kent as well. I'm not too sure about Kent Med School. I know for Kiel though, get about 1,900. Year 13 is the hardest you'll ever work academically. I doubt it. I'll probably work harder when I'm in fifth year, but it felt really like for first and second year medicine, I worked harder in year 13 than I then. I think as I get older, like studying gets a lot easier. I think in year 13 it was quite difficult to study so much, and a lot of the content was the same. In medicine, it's so varied, so it doesn't feel as bad. And I preferred medicine, but yeah, I think I probably will be the hardest I'll ever work academically. Year 13 was really difficult for me, but it could be easier for some people or harder. Oh, that's fine. And if you didn't get your chemistry GCSE, yeah, so you can have to do other stuff. But yeah, you can still apply to more than four med schools. There's still more than four med schools, and four's the max you can apply to. So you're chilling. 2080. I'll check for you now. UCAT deciles 2025. So you got 2080. Let's go on to this, then this. So 2080 is top 20 is the top 20% of UCAT takers. So if 100 people would take it, you'd get top 20%. So yeah, really, really good score. Like I said, if you get 2000 or above, you're probably going to get 4 out of 4 offers from universities. 2000 is a really good score. So yeah, top 20% that. Biochem, physics, and psych combo, brilliant combination. Consider dropping one if it's getting way too much for you. I did biochem, psych, got into med school with that. Skills and skinning things, part of medicine. I don't know if that's a joke or not, bro. Skills and skinning things. Like dexterity and that. If you're being for real, like I probably won't bother putting that in a personal statement, but you could probably find a way to do it. Can you live a good nightlife? Oh, it's all right. I mean, it's no city or anything. Like you can make a good laugh out of it if you want to. It's all a mindset game, Adam. You can do good at Kyoto at nightlife, 100%. Take foundation year med. If you've got an offer, I'd 100% do foundation med. Nice name as well, man. Cheers, Ben. Yeah, chem's hard, bro. Yeah, 100% do foundation med. If you got an offer, just take it. It's literally just another year of A levels, foundation med. I don't know what a gem doctor is. Let's look at this offer, but they do less emphasis than UCAT. I'm so anxious. 190 band two, that's absolutely fine for a contextual offer. If you, especially if you have a really the UCAT, that's a high UCAT. I mean, it's higher than average, so you should be okay for that. Yeah, let me know if you get in though. You should be okay with that offer though, to be honest. I'm not too sure. I'm interested in medical education. I want to specialize in that, I think. But I'm really interested in like some surgeries as well. I like the heart a lot. Graduate entry doctor is not less of a doctor at all. I don't know who ever told you that. That's not true at all. It's the exact same degree at the end of the day. They do not care if you had a degree prior. To be honest with you, it's better if you had a degree prior because you have more skills. The only difference is you're going to be older. No difference though at all. Yeah, that's absolutely daft if someone told you that. Just don't worry. If you start in med school, just you're gonna have such a chill introduction to it. They'll ease you in nicely. You don't need to worry too much at all, really. Um, just enjoy it. Like get to know everyone in your year. I would say when exams do come round, you'll get a grasp of the exams. Basically, like it's really hard to know how to study. The first set of exams usually aren't marked, so I think it's called summative or it's formative and it's not marked or something like that. So you have these exams that aren't marked. You get to see how the exams are written, what the questions are like, and then go from there. You can understand how the questions are, etc. So I would just honestly like just study how you always have, and then after the first set of exams, reflect, and you'll have meetings with tutors, but see what went well, how did you do better, and if you first study your methods work, and stick with it. So if you've got interview offers for medicine, that doesn't mean you've got like the actual offer. So some med schools give out loads of interviews, some don't. I would say with interviews, like over prepare for them. So there's loads of free stuff out there. Like and it's also paid stuff, but the free stuff I didn't even have a tutor and I used just free stuff. So I would say like Ali Abdal, Karma Medic, they're both really, really good like tutors for free on YouTube. And I'm gonna make loads of videos when the interviews come round for interviews. So just know your pillars of medical ethics. Be confident at talking. So just practice on people with your family. You need to just be good at talking for interviews, and then watch their interview skills. Ali Abdal's series is so good. I guarantee if you watch his series and apply it to your interview, you will get it and just remember it. But just do that and stay on top of everything and no medical like topics in the news. So like euthanasia, you need to know, is it legal? Is it illegal? The bill that's being passed. Things like that you should know, okay? No, if you don't get three A levels, you're not less intelligent. A levels are a sign of intelligence, but people who don't get amazing A levels aren't unintelligent. No, you don't get past papers at all. So the med schools make their own papers because, like I said, there's no curriculum, and they're never going to give people like the same paper because they want to like save a question. So my teachers give me like past paper questions they've made. So you get them and I just sit them like six times because it's the only resource I really have to study. So teachers will give you some topic like content and I would recommend sit it like 5, 6, 7 times. Just study from that. It's a really good way of studying. No, because A levels don't like measure intelligence. Euthanasia is yes, it's ending people's life to end the suffering. Currently in the UK, it is illegal. You can't do it, but there is being a bill passed to see if it is legal. But that's currently up in the air. So there's obvious ethical issues with euthanasia, but then there's also some ethical issues without having it. So autonomy, which is one of the four pillars of medical ethics, which is to let the patient choose their healthcare. It is going against their right, well, like their rights, but although it's illegal currently, some countries allow it. But then also there's the idea of doing no harm, which means non-maleficence, to do no harm. And if you are ending someone's life, that could be doing harm to them. So this is what you need to be talking about in interviews. I've answered your question, Mohammed, bro. You don't get past papers in med schools. I do at A levels. Is what subjective? Can you specify, please, bro? Yeah, it is tough. It's really tough. So you can't really do past paper questions. I mean, the way I study, I make my own questions from lectures. So it takes forever. There's no question banks or anything. So it's a pain, honestly. But it's a massive pain. So a really good way of doing it is getting 10 friends and each of you making questions and they just have a shared Notion. Like Notion's like a website you can use. Everyone in med school has Notion. And then yeah, I'd recommend doing that, just sharing that. I don't know what Emotion Parallax is, really sorry. You don't open medicine at all. Like so many, like there's people in my year who are like 35. There's parents in my year, people with kids, people getting married and stuff. 22 is young for medicine. Like I'd say the average person in my year is like 22. Honestly, 22 is not old at all for medicine. No way. It's a vocation as well. You're going to be in the job till like 65. So generally, contextual offers are the same for every med school. Like you have them or you don't. Like universities aren't going to like change the contextual offers. So generally, it's like caregiver, estranged family, not living at home, things like that. So like different universities will kind of just not offer different ones. Usually, it's like the same across the board. Lower GCSEs, I've made a TikTok on this. Go watch it. I've completely forgotten, to be honest with you. I've made a video on it though. I think Hull York is one for GCSEs. You don't need a certain number of hours volunteering. No, you don't. It looks good volunteering though. I would recommend having it because it does look really good. It does not need to be a certain number of hours though. No. Did Oxford care about English language? You see a lot. It depends what grade you've got. If you've got a 7 or above, you're chilling. So uni group work. So for medicine, it's called PBL, which stands for problem-based learning. Okay, so problem-based learning is when you get a fake patient and you have to kind of work on them throughout the week. In PBL, um, like you have about 10 people discussing the patient. You like each read out a section, talk about their drugs that should be to get taken, the pathology of the disease, how it works, how to treat them, the signs and symptoms, and like you all just take turns teaching. So it's called the Feynman technique, I think. And it's when you all teach each other. So you get whiteboards, and you teach people. People ask you questions. You have to think. It's a great way of learning. So that's kind of what group work is. When you like stuff group studying. So it's when you have to like studying together. Really good way of studying. I think going in personally and asking them's good. It looks professional if you just like go in and say like it shows you're keen as well, and they can't ignore you. On an email they can ignore you, but if you go in person they can't ignore you. I'm live on YouTube as well if anyone wants to join. Bio with Bryn, link in bio. We could talk about personal statements. Any help you need on personal statements. Depends on the university. Some universities, if you have a contextual like if yeah, I think it does. I think it does. I mean, contextual offers generally are quite hard to get though, but I think it does guarantee you the offer. And then a lot of contextual offers, like they'll guarantee you an interview as well. And if you get an interview, like I said, you listen to Ali Abdal's advice online, and you should be good to go. That's for med schools. Yeah, I had a part-time job last year. I worked as a tutor, did like 12-hour weeks. Workload's not too much at all. You're gonna miss a few nights out on that, but it's worth it. AI personal statements pointless. Like it's too unless and I mean unless there's AIs out there I don't know about. I think that the capability AI has over humans isn't as good for personal statement writing. If you're really bad at writing, go ahead use AI, but just don't over rely on it because like can unis find out? I don't know. To be honest with you, I wouldn't risk it, but you can do it if you want. If you're eligible for contextual, they are likely to give you a contextual offer because they have to meet quotas. So, like, um, let's say like you have parents in the army or something, or like there's some way you can have a contextual offer. They want to take people on under contextual background, so it's likely they will give you that. People on the live stream on YouTube, feel free to join online. We can do some personal statement help. If I was athletic, do you not think I'm athletic? I do track. I'm in chess society, and that's it. I should probably join some more though. Keele is really diverse, yes, really, really diverse. But a lot of universities are quite diverse. Yo, Harry, do you want to join the live stream? Any questions you've got, feel free to ask. We're live on YouTube. If you've got questions about your personal statement, anything to do with anything, link in bio. Feel free to join the live stream. I'll even send a link. Head over to link in bio and join the live stream on YouTube. We'll chat through there. Favorite molecule, a ketone. I like ketones. Pick keel, low UCAT. Well, not low, but not like anything crazy. Viewed by professionals. There's some websites out there. I don't recommend them that much though. Although if you join the live stream, link in bio, I'll review it for free. Third year med student, 100% track record on people gotten into med school. Next live, not too sure. Feel free to join now if you want. Links here. Let's get a light on. Yeah, you want medicine personal statements by professionals? Join the live stream. We'll go over them. I got 2,500. So in new terms, that is about in new terms, that's roughly 1,850. So nothing crazy. Oh, Jay's brother, what's up, man? Join the live stream, bro. Link in bio. We're on YouTube giving out advice face to face. Please join if you want to. So then there's what's your thoughts on chemistry, English? Yeah, really, really good for really, really good for med school. I recommend it a lot. Yeah, it's good for chemical engineering. Really good. Made loads of videos on how to revise for A levels. Do check them out. But just intensity, and also do past paper questions for everything. No one's joining the YouTube. It's been an hour now. Probably call it a night. Go on so you could get tutors, but honestly, if you don't have the cash for that, I would use Ali Abdaal and I would use Karma Medic on YouTube. That's Ali Abdaal, Karma Medic. They both have interview. They have like interview like series bits. Really, really good. Recommend it a lot. We're gonna do some free interview stuff as well on the live stream, like when the interviews come around. Not hard at all. Don't worry about that. You'll make many friends. I gotta call it a night now, guys. Peace.